Riddle me this, both of you. What does Disney Plus and Monopoly have in common?
Um,
That's where you can find a pair of dice. Anyways, let's
oh,
start. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Chummy Thumbs, and we are continuing our conversation around the Disney Plus slash Hulu drama thriller series Paradise. And today we will be discussing the bombshell dropping episodes 5 and 6. There are only two left of this season. So, of course, before I do a brief recap, if you are not caught up to episode 6 entitled You Asked for Miracles, there will be spoilers. You have been warned, giving you 3 seconds to listen to our previous episodes. Okay, there you go. Okay, so episode 5, we start off with a grim image of Washington, D.C. being submerged under 500 feet of water. We learn that the upstairs world, the outside world, was affected by like a potential supervolcanic eruption thing, and which led to a nuclear fallout. Cal gains access to more secret files by scanning his dad's hand on the tablet while he's asleep. Nice, and he learns a lot of stuff about the outside world. He learns Billy Pace was ordered to kill the scientists. And Cal makes a CD for Jeremy, which I think probably has some crucial information in there somehow or whatever. Um, yeah, I think he wants to tell him some secrets or whatever. But anyways, we'll get into that later. But Jeremy wants nothing to do with him. He sees his dad as a puppet being controlled by the higher ups, gajabillionaires, or whatever he calls them. Thanks, Justin. We also learned that there's a stash of weapons in Paradise. Xavier and Jane find Billy dead in the house, and Xavier and Robinson start to find a way to take down Sinatra. With the help of their neighbor Carl, they encode a message in the computer. And at the nighttime, the sky lights up with a message, "They're lying to you." And then we also learn that Presley plays a huge part in the series for that she now has the tablet. She found it in the bushes and also saw a mysterious man walking away with a yellow flower in his jacket. Hmm.
mm,
The same flower on Kane's bookmark, Kane being the grandfather with dementia.
sure it was a man.
Xavier and Robinson's plan goes into motion, and Xavier declares war by cutting off his wristband with the steak knife in the diner. Sinatra sends Jane to get Presley as, I guess, sort of a bartering piece, as the boardroom panics over the inability to override Cal's message prompts, and eventually Sinatra calls for a total system reboot, even though Dr. T advises her not to, because there will be consequences, potentially. Robinson ambushes the board members as they're collecting their families to go hide in the bunker. So Dr. T advises Sinatra to go back to her house, where the episode ends with Xavier confronting her, but also learning that her wife potentially is still alive. And that takes us to where we are. Thoughts.
Two,
Bum, bum,
yeah, two things about
bum.
that. One, how do you know it was a guy wearing the jacket? And two, you told everybody that was gonna be fucking brief, bro.
I know I tried. Well, I actually did write
That
it
I know,
was
down.
pretty
I do,
brief.
I know, it
Okay,
was packed.
yeah, because there's so much that happened. I think maybe there are some certain things I could have glanced over, but I said a man because I did watch back I rewound, and I thought just the walk was very, and the yeah. I mean, I'm
Masculine.
totally generalizing, but it did look like a man. So I
Yeah.
could be wrong. A person. I should have said a person. Yeah, there's a lot of questions now with 2 episodes left. I don't know. I would assume that there's going to be a season 2 because this show is, getting incredible ratings, has a big following right now, and I just don't know if it's going to answer a lot of the things that are still up in the air.
I I'm gonna jump in
Please,
about my thoughts.
please.
Um, Episode 5, shite. That's about my only
Interesting.
review of that episode. No, no. I felt, listen, after episode 4, obviously like more information's coming. We're getting more backstory. It's like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? And episode 5 for me, like fuck, man. Like if I wasn't already just like so invested, I don't I don't like that's a almost walk away from the show episode for me. If the next episode was similar, if we weren't doing this podcast, I don't know if I'd still be watching. There was about 62 seconds of like attention grabbing, like edge of my seat. Where's this show going? And that was like the last 60 seconds. I felt like the first part of it, I felt it was filler. I felt it was slow. I was like, oh my God. And I've been watching with Kate. Kate literally left. She just like walked away partway through. She's like, this is so slow. I was like, yeah, I have that not noted down. Like it's just it was slow, man. Like we're building, you're building. And I get if you want to, you know, take some time to do a little more backstory or a little more storytelling or like kind of start to build it up. Take some time, but don't take the whole fucking episode. You know,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it's sort of
it
like
was
almost the
yeah. So
what's
I was
that?
gonna say it was like a build up. It didn't progress the storyline. It was more flashbacky stuff. I actually had some similar thoughts where I think this is where we might disagree. Is that I actually did not like how it ended. I didn't like the direction that they're because all we got in the last episode, or sorry, the last scene was Presley holding the tablet. And because we didn't know how she got it, right? Like it gets explained later, but I was like, if they're making it where she's some sort of like involved in the plot of it, I wouldn't be down with that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like that
Never
that
once.
bring that into the story.
See, never once did I think she was in on it. I thought she was there because it had been alluded to that she goes there when the cameras are off sometime. And I didn't think she would it like found it out the window. I thought like she was there, maybe witness to something and then took it. Now that's not how it ended up playing out, but not once
Right.
when I saw that happen at that scene did I think she was in on it. I just thought, holy shit, she has the tablet. Um, but I meant even more like the build up, and I messaged you guys like I was like, damn, like that sort of reimagined Eye of the Tiger song, just like the way it starts slow and you kind of don't know what's going on, and X is just looking at the lamppost and you can see that Sinatra is watching him through the camera. They both know that each other's on the other end. You don't really know what's going on, and then like you knew Carl the neighbor because X said like I'm gonna cash in on that favor, but it's not gonna be I forget what it was he talked about.
About bread or
And you
something, right? Something
what's
about
that?
like something about yeah, something about him like the sourdough starter or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's right. That's right. The sourdough starter. And
Not a trivia question, don't worry.
yeah. And you see him and you can see he's up to something, but you don't know what's fully going on. And then when it goes red, and I felt like they just built it up nicely. The music was kind of growing. They paced it well. She goes to the window. You see, she sees, but you don't see it yet as the audience. And then I don't know. And then you just see that message that they put in the sky. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like, here we go. Shit is kicking off. You have me again. You have me again. Let's
Mm.
get to episode 6. Before I go into my episode 6 stuff or further down, Hayden, I'm curious to what sort of.
I'm gonna go the complete opposite. I was like, it had to be done this way. Otherwise, you risk falling into bad dudes having a big exposition about all of these things. Like, we had to see what, like, Cal discovering these secrets, which would ultimately lead to his death. Like, we had to see those. And it kind of filled in those blanks of scenes that we'd already seen before, like when he was having a confrontation with Sinatra and X shows up and he's like, it's okay, we're okay. Like, it filled those little gaps. I do see what you mean where like some of it was a bit slower, But I enjoyed it from that point of view in that we at the time before this episode had seen Cal as just like he's like, I'm just a president in a dome of 25,000 people, so I'm just gonna get freaking smashed all the time, wear my robe everywhere, and have an affair. Like that's all we saw him as a character. This kind of gave us an insight as to why he was like that and where he was going with it up until his death. So
See, I don't.
I get that it was a little bit of a contrast, but I understand the reasoning why they put it in there. Because I already had some complaints about the way that they had cheaped out on writing on some of the previous episodes. And I thought if they didn't do this, then they would have had like Sinatra monologuing about all this shit that that Cal found out, and it would have just been like too much.
Yeah, no, and I have no problem with filling gaps. I try and fill gaps every night, but I just felt like they could have. I felt like they could have had it a bit. Ciao.
No, no, I need my
Ciao.
time. No, keep going. I need my time.
I've never seen you broken before. No, and I get that, and I did like that, and I did like that you got that, and you saw him start to discover, and you saw him, and it added like a little more depth to the whole like trying to get his son there. Was he gonna tell him? I felt like it added. Don't get me wrong, I really did, and it was good to get the information, but I don't know if they just like
It didn't need
again
a whole
the
episode of it.
pacing, or yeah, I mean maybe like I don't know. Yeah, I just feel however they maybe not a whole episode, maybe mix some more. I don't know, just up
I guess in
tempo
hindsight,
stuff. I don't
yeah,
know. It just felt slow. Just give me the information. I
yeah.
get it.
You could have, yeah, looking back on it, you could probably have spliced those Cal scenes into every other previous episode. Like him discovering bit by bit instead of lumping it all into one. I see what you're saying. Like, I get your point. Like, I'm just looking at my notes here and I was like, all of the things that I have for episode 5, like, far is 3 times as long as everything I had for episode 6 in terms of things that I thought were introduced and I could theorize on versus what 6 was. Because 6 in itself, before we get to it, was an entirely different beast of an episode.
I think one of the things at five, one of the topics that some people are talking about is, well, five, we had more to do with Cain. He narrates the poem at the beginning and, kind of ends with that too. That poem is written, I think, I can't, maybe like hundreds of years ago by Lord Byron. And I read a few lines, and there's speculation that the images that we saw, some people don't even know if it's like him saying it, what's in his mind, and his mind is kind of deteriorating. I don't know. I just for me though, why would they even put it in there if people think that it's like it's not even true, with the water and the Washington Monument and all that stuff. But I think he has something to do. There's more going on with Kane for sure, I think. I mean, of course, with the whole flower thing, like, do you
Yeah.
guys have any thoughts on that? Maybe to me, it's some sort of like secret organization, Stonecutter-esque kind of group of people who actually run stuff. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, because I think he's in on it,
yeah.
and I don't know if maybe that jacket was his, but that flower, that logo holds some sort of significance because obviously, like we all assume it was funded by the billionaires or the fact that Cal had access to all the American resources as president. But in some of the conversations, he played a big part in developing that. And even the fact that he has clearances to that war tablet or whatever tablet that not even Cal had, not even the president had.
Hmm.
So maybe before he started getting dementia, he's in on it somehow. And like, and the fact that he calls Billy Sniper. I think that maybe he was in like the part of the selection process for bringing him over, and that's how he knows him that way, because obviously the time there, his dementia has been getting worse. I also think that I don't, but yeah, no, I don't really have too many theories about the flower, but I know it's that's a good one, Shao, that you said some sort of secret organization or something, because there's some sort of significance to it, because they went all the way into telling the backstory on the bookmark. And I mean, maybe it was just, a way to get the story out about Cal's mom, and get a little more information there. But then when you see it again on the jacket of Cal's murderer, it's like, oh, okay, no, this plays a bigger role.
I'm just thinking for that guy, why would you wear that jacket to do that? Like to do like that big of a mission? Wouldn't you just wear something all black
All
or
black.
whatever? It's pretty much a calling, what do you call it when like a burglar leaves the calling card
The
or
calling
whatever?
card, yeah.
Calling card, yeah.
Like they
Almost as
want to
if
get caught.
they want to see, they want people to see.
I also have a theory that because they played up the nickname thing, he was calling Sniper, and then X was asking Robinson, like, as he's kind of putting pieces together, he asked Robinson if she has a nickname, and she says, aside from the occasional like sweetheart or sweetie. Oh, but wait a minute, that's Cal, not X. Because I was thinking, I wonder if he'll have a nickname for Jane, and then that's what the reveal will be, with how X will know that Jane's actually not good. But as I say it out loud, it was Cal that was more aware of the nicknames than X.
Yeah, Jane.
I do
Fuck,
have.
I'm. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to piggyback on the role of Cal's dad. And I mean, he says he was one of the first people to start building the dome with Sinatra because of his drilling and hydrofractions background, because he was an oil baron or whatever. And they had that whole scene with him and Cal where he was like, nope, you're not going to be a high school teacher. You're going to go into politics. You're going to be a congressman, or you're going to be a senator, and then you're going to be a president. So he was probably planting seeds back then on what he wanted to do. And then obviously his brain just is deteriorating. But I think he and Sinatra, he might have even had a hand in his son's own like death, but doesn't remember it.
I think he did.
I
He did
think
for
so.
sure.
I think so. Yeah.
And,
I think
and
that's also
I think
has
it
a
was
lot to
him.
do with the scene when he
it was probably him.
was apologetic, thinking Jeremy was Cal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a lot, lighter and loving and like I said, apologetic and saying he's proud of him and all that stuff. So that kind of tracks. I do think he has something. I don't think he's the guy wearing the jacket. You know what I mean? But because he can't jump off the, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But he has something to do with it, I believe, for sure.
And I 100% think it's probably an organization. Like, seeing how Sinatra she had Billy on a team, she's got Jane on a team, but they don't know it. It is probably a select group of ultimate assassins, because jumping forward just for this one point to episode 6, they get a lot of people for their like little special forces team. Like, I'm like, where did all of these people come from that, X has gathered up? Some of them were guards that are on his roster, but there was there were some other characters there. I'm like, yeah, there's some people here. So there's obviously a lot of previously high-end trained killers that are floating around, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kane and Sinatra didn't make their own like elite squad in case of such a thing happening. So there will be probably, they know that X has got a team coming. He's like, well, we'll get our team. And
Well, X and his team, they got all the guns, but that's one thing I thought was funny.
there's going to be more guns somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, they'll do it, and it's like, but
Well, Jane has her own gun.
Jane has her own gun. It's like, a 6-shooter. She didn't even bring extra ammo for it, and they got all the guns.
With
So
that scene.
I have issues So episode 5, I was like, shit, except for the end. Episode 6 was kind of the opposite for me. I kind of really liked it all the way up until I didn't like how they ended it. But since we're kind of naturally flowing to episode 6, yeah, that's one thing I had was I get you need to get Robinson's obviously got a couple people she trusts, but there was even a scene when Robinson said to X, asked something about the circle of trust. She answered and she said, "What about you?" And he said, "Well, you're something about her sleeping with the president, and so my circle of trust remains the same." It's not like, to paraphrase. Essentially, I took that as he doesn't trust anybody. He doesn't trust anybody. And then all of a sudden, there's like a dozen of them with guns. And then he's even wanting to Jane. And I know maybe Jane's a bit trickier because, she was with Billy and obviously he doesn't know that she's the one who killed Billy. But I just feel like it's kind of growing more than I'd expect when literally earlier in the episode, which is, probably just earlier in the day when this is all happening, that he's got nobody in his circle of trust. And now he's got a dozen people that he's, commanding.
That's true. Good point.
But
I have thought about. Sorry, I was just gonna say I thought about briefly. He's not a very good parent in the terms of like he doesn't listen to his kids a lot, and especially that one scene towards the end of at the end of episode 5 when um Presley wanted to tell him about the tablet and just like cuts her off. You know what I mean? I mean, I get it. It's an emergency situation, but he's done that a few times prior to with his kids, just kind of dismissing them.
dude, that's
Um,
just what you do as a parent, bro.
but
Fuck, there's
yeah.
just so much useless shit that comes out of their mouth that you're just like, yeah, like, I'm sure it's really important, Presley.
But Dad, it
I'm
really
gonna go.
is.
I'm gonna go save the dome. Okay, yeah, I can't wait to hear what happened on TikTok later.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I always think about obviously these are just useless scenarios, but Presley, even when he got cut off and when he's leaving, like 4 words, like I have the tablet.
Yeah,
That would, probably change a few things, but obviously the story wouldn't go out the way it
lazy
would,
writing. Hey, Hayden, lazy
right?
fucking
Lazy, so
writing.
unrealistic. So unrealistic.
Like,
Um,
just needed a writing partner in there with the red pen, just fucking
No,
hacking and
no,
slashing.
no. So
yeah.
on lazy writing, unless Shao, you've got more to say. Sorry.
No, 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 go ahead.
Um, stuff with Jane. They don't have the kids don't have their wrist trackers on anymore. So there's
Mhm.
no way in hell that Jane knew that Presley was in that situation there with Jeremy where he was announcing to the crowd. There's no way she knew that she was there. I know it's only a small town, but there's no way that she would just like waddle into this little scenario of Jeremy going, they're telling the truth. This is what I know. I just found out on the tablet. I'm going to tell you all. And then all of a sudden she's like the top assassin that we know of is
Well,
there to
especially
take
because
X's
especially
place.
because Presley defied order to
Yeah.
sneak out to
But
she was supposed to be somewhere else,
she was
being
supposed to be
all
in the bunker
safe.
with them or
Yeah,
wherever they.
yeah, and then defied
But
orders
that's what I
and
mean. There was no way of tracking of where she was. But all of a sudden, oh, here comes this person we know is two.
I think it was an educated guess. Like, okay, if I can find her son, because she said, like, I have another way. So maybe she was using him in hopes that maybe Presley would be there. But there's a lot of things about that scene actually that pissed me off. And again, that was like the end of the episode. It
that
annoyed
scene
me
in particular,
that,
even the scene in particular where they were at the rally, where she
yeah.
sees. Okay, yeah.
So it annoyed me first and foremost that Presley left. It's
Yes.
like, and like, I guess she wanted to show Jeremy the tablet, but maybe don't bring it. Maybe go get him and bring him to safety because like shit's going down. You were told like, hey, fucking lay low. You see what's happening outside. Like use your brain a little bit. So it bugged me that she went there in the first place. And then talk about, and I don't like to shit on acting, but Jeremy's speech when he hopped up on the truck, like, oh, like dull. You
Okay.
know what I mean? You get, hey, everybody, I have something to tell. And and passionate. He's like, hey, everybody, listen to me. They were lying to you. I was like, holy fuck, buddy. Like, amp it up. Like, this is a big moment. This is the climax. It's the end of the episode. You're getting everybody's attention. You want them to believe you. Like, you just got a hold of all this information. And it was like, I was like, dull. So I don't know if that was like, maybe the director couldn't get it out of them, or if that's what the director wanted. I think the director should be shot. Kidding, nobody should be shot. But so that bugged
Metaphorically.
me.
Well, no,
Metaphorically, yeah. And
I
then
agree
and
with
then
you. I agree with you. Yeah.
yeah, and then finally, like just another bad decision. And I know it's in the writing, but come on, man. Like you send Presley with Jane. Like again, you're leaving by yourself with her. And I know you feel like you have a connection through Billy with her, but all this shit is going on, and she's just like, oh, like I just want to be alone and eat ice cream. Like, would you come with me? And she's like, yeah, sure. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Come on, guys. That
Yeah.
pissed me off
Yeah.
because it's like I know what they're trying to do because they need that exchange piece because X is, he's got the upper hand. But as soon as Jane takes Presley, they're in a stalemate, right? I would have rather Presley been like, no, like I need to stay or I can't right now. There's something going on. My dad told me that I need to like I got to be back at this place. And then Jane's like, oh, can I come with you? No, like, and then she fucking pulls out the gun or something and sticks it to her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was just it was all so convenient for the
Mhm.
story.
Well, two
Like,
things I want to piggyback off of you. The Jeremy, there's yeah, the act. I think there's some strong performances in the series. Okay, don't get me wrong. There's some really good acting in it, but he's, I think, by far the worst. I get it. Some this is like some scenes are pretty heavy, and I don't know how old he is. Probably, I don't, whatever. It doesn't matter. But even so, that scene that you just talked about, but even there's a scene when he was confronting his dad about his alcoholism and all that. It's kind of just calling him out and stuff like that. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. It was a lot of felt forced, and it didn't. It took me out of the moment. That in
yeah.
that particular case, and to go off of the whole Jane and Presley thing, okay, I'm jumping into a theory, is that I believe that eventually Presley will kill Jane by shooting her because I don't know if you remember, but a few episodes before Billy died, Billy gave her the nickname Shooter for shooting her shot with Jeremy. I think
Mm.
that's kind of planted in there by the writer, maybe. You know how
A
shows
little
these days.
foreshadowing.
Yeah, for I that's just my prediction. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of wild that like a little teenage girl will, whatever. It's happened before, but yeah, that's what I think will happen. I think Jane has a gun, and I think Presley will take her nickname into action and somehow.
Janie's got a gun.
Very good.
Quick, who sings that?
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith.
Um,
Ah, nice.
I
Shout out for
didn't
the
ding.
point.
I didn't ding. Nice.
Ding, ding, ding.
Um,
Hey, on my end, we said it at the same time.
I mean, tie.
Yay!
Hayden gets half a point.
so we talked about the bad acting so far. I do kind of want to give a little bit of
That's a
prop.
polite way of putting it.
It's just bad when you get taken out of the scene, and especially in a high intensity, important scene. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Sometimes you just have to deal with what you're given, right, Hayden? When you have bad
Yep.
actors.
I don't
That's
know. I've
all.
never
That's
had
all.
to deal with bad acting before.
Why did you look directly
Oh.
at me, Hayden?
Hey,
God damn it!
I
You
wouldn't
Look
have
at
worked
me.
with you. I
Jesus.
wouldn't have worked with you so many times if you were a bad actor, Justin. I've only worked with one of you two in a
Oh.
professional capacity. So, well, technically, I did work with Xiao very
Ooh.
briefly.
Yeah, it wasn't a professional thing because I get paid
No,
for it. But anyways,
no one got paid
um,
for it. I was like, hey, let's run around with a camera for a day and play martial arts.
yeah,
That was
and
fun.
it was fun.
I haven't finished that
I
film
do
yet.
want to give flowers to Sterling. I call him Ster. I call him Sterl. I think he did
Girls.
do a really good job in episode 6, especially just because we see the contrast, the flashbacks of what he was before all the shit went down with him and his wife, Terry, who's a fucking hard ass bitch. Um, I love that scene with
I
the
fucking love Terry, man.
Terry's so
Oh,
good. What did she
she is
say?
a
What did she
beauty.
say to the parents again? That was frick, I'm very sure I remember. In the meeting with the principal.
Maybe try putting your kid in the back seat and fucking driving him to school or something like that. Like, my kid won't even go to school anymore. Like, try putting him in the back seat and driving him there. Like, I fucking love her. And
Oh,
then, like, after,
yeah.
she's just so proud of it.
Yeah, and just talk about good casting because
And it
I
sets a,
just it had such little words,
yeah,
but I hated those parents just seeing their face. I was like, ugh.
yeah.
Um, but you know what? Really quickly, do you guys think that she's actually alive, or do you think Sinatra's lying? I don't think she has a, you know, she could be so evil that she's using that as a piece to save her own life. But I also don't see why she would bring it up if it wasn't a thing. Because then now it leads to the fact that maybe in Atlanta there are other domes, you know, or other places in the world there are other domes, and maybe she's there or something like that. That's just
I
another
don't
theory.
think in the US they would build other domes. I like just the amount of time and money it's spent to do it. I just can't see there being more domes. I mean, I could be wrong. And like instantly, like the the last note I have written on here is how could you trust Sinatra? Because that's how that episode ended. And I was like, whether she's telling the truth or not, I wouldn't trust her. If I was X in that situation, bullshit. Because I also think Sinatra doesn't know, and I mean, maybe she does, but the audience, as far as the audience knows, Sinatra doesn't know that um, Jane has Presley. So that could just be a chess move. Okay, I don't know, like if he's got the kids, so I'm just gonna say, she's buying time.
Yep, that's
That's
true.
how I see it. And, you know, just for the sake of X, I would love Terry to still be alive because she is a fucking beaut and I want more of her. But at the same time, putting myself in the character's position, I would not trust her
I
at
was
all.
I was
I'd
just
be like,
thinking.
fucking prove it. I'd prove it. And I'd
Yeah,
fucking shoot her in the knee, you know? Like,
yeah, I was. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, just shoot her in the arm or something first, not light, like lethal, right?
yeah, you don't want to be vital, but I'd be like, prove it. And then she'd be like, oh, well, first I bang, like one pop, prove it.
But I was just
Fucking
also
prove it.
thinking, okay, if she is alive, then what? Bring her in, right? Then what? What are they gonna happen? What's gonna happen to them after? They can't live. I feel like they can't live safely or knowing that Sinatra's still out there. You know what I mean? She's such a killer. She can do anything essentially. So in that
Well, she's
scenario,
got eyes everywhere, right? She's
yeah,
she's watching
exactly.
it all too.
In that scenario, if she says, "I can get you, Terry. I'll bring her in." Okay, they all live together, then what? Like I don't understand how they can live happily after. Sinatra's not going to be like, okay, I'm just going to drop everything and as long as this doesn't get out of control, as long as my kids are safe. Her thing too is also just to protect her kids. She loves her family, but
Mhm.
she's also evil.
Well, and the
Um,
other thing is to like, okay, if she's alive, like as a husband, if this is me and Kate, it'd be like, okay, great. I'd want to get more information, but yeah, certainly bringing Terry there. When you love somebody, you want to protect them at all costs. So I don't think bringing her there is necessarily going to protect her, but you want the information in case you need to go after her or whatever. And the other thing is, and X doesn't know this, but maybe they did fly her somewhere, but we know from Presley looking at the tablet that 2 thermonukes hit Atlanta, which is where Terry was. So is she still alive? There's kind of things pointing for me. I would say no, I don't trust Sinatra, and I don't believe it. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Hayden, yes or no? Is she alive?
Have you not been listening to what I've been saying the last 5
He
episodes?
thinks she's
discussion?
alive.
I think she's alive.
Yeah.
And I also think now,
He's always thought she's alive.
Yeah.
I think she's alive. I'd have to rewatch it, but I swear that she took a job in Colorado. Like Xavier was telling that to Cal at one point. So my thoughts is that she was helping Sinatra with the initial development of the dome, and then maybe there was a falling out between them and she got sent to Atlanta. But I also now think, because of episode 5, that Cal may be caught onto something and he sent her to safety, not sending her to the same dome that they were all going to be in. So if he...
So you think there's multiple domes?
I think there's multiple domes, or at least smaller pockets, like ways for them to have survived. She might not have even gone to Atlanta. She might, because X has said multiple times in flashbacks and whatnot, he's like, I didn't trust, he didn't get my wife on the plane. He didn't get her on the plane. Maybe he did get her on a plane to somewhere completely different. So... And if Sinatra is saying that, yeah, she's alive, maybe she knows that too, but not exactly where. But I think she might also just be BSing the fact to just try and save her skin.
Yeah, maybe she is in fact alive, but Sinatra doesn't actually know that, and she's just saying shit because, so it could be like both right, half point each. Because Cal, when they were doing the walkthrough, when he said, show me the walkthrough of the procedure of when it happens, I got the feeling in that scene, Cal knew exactly when shit was happening. And he said he couldn't tell. And he said, no more trips to Atlanta. And X was like, I haven't been able to tell my wife anything for 20 years, But which is also to me like, fuck that. And he's like, oh, without enough information, she won't believe me. It's like, dude, if I was Secret Service, the personal, the agent responsible for looking after the president, and I got this information, I'll go to my wife and be like, look, no more trips to Atlanta. I don't care how, strong-headed of a person you are. If you are warned that there is imminent danger and you don't know when, and you need to be available to get on a plane and get to an underground bunker to survive, you tell them that, and you stay.
See that there, so reiterates. Sorry to jump in. That if the president, if Cal knew that Atlanta was a hot target for the nukes or anything, then he probably did bypass Xavier and directly try and find, with his people, find his wife, find Xavier's wife, and got her out of there. So...
Yeah, I could see that, because Cal's a good person. I don't think Cal's a bad person.
Yeah.
I've never thought that about Cal.
Yeah. Same. I still think, I don't know. I remember last time I talked about how Dr. Tarabi is in on some things. And even though, was it episode 5 or 6 or whatever?
She's soft. She's a bag of milk, man. I lost so much fucking respect for her.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I wanted to talk about her.
Yeah, go ahead, Hayden. What do you got to say? I want to hear you talk smack about the bag of milk.
Yeah. Please.
No, I didn't. I mean, I'm horrible at talking smack about people. I'm
Even though it was a fictional person?
Even though it's a fictional person. I had observations on her.
Talk shit about the writers.
I can
shit about
because
the writers, but not the characters.
I can. These
Doesn't know their
fictional
name.
characters, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't comment too much on, like you guys, on the acting abilities of people. I know what I want from as a director standpoint, but being a performer on the other end of it, you guys can comment much better. So writing, I can say writing is lazy because I've written myself. But anyway, Dr. G, Dr. T, whatever we want to call it, Gabriella. I think she might be, because we theorized before that she was maybe playing people on both sides as well. And then we found out a little bit today, these last two episodes, that Sinatra had her camera bugged and video, watching her. So she knew about her little bathroom fling with X.
Hey, quick question I just want to interrupt quickly. Do you think that's the first time Sinatra's watched Dr. G in the shower?
No.
Definitely not.
Because to bring it up means that she
Definitely
watches.
not.
Yeah, to bring it up specifically means that she watches a lot, and she watched that event. Like she wouldn't, didn't turn it off. Watched it.
Whoa!
Also,
why are you doing that hand motion when you talk about that, Hayden?
On that, how can you see my hands? They're below the table. On that, we have not seen Sinatra's husband or daughter since they've been in the dome. We've only seen them in back.
Yeah, you know what? Dude, I was like, when she made the comment about her having a test for something coming up and like, oh, can you look at all this studying for shit we do that we just forget later on in life. And I was like, oh, all right, she's got a daughter and a husband. Like, I totally just forgot because of that exact thing. You haven't seen him.
So there's something going on there. But at the same time, like with Dr. Torabi, I was like, because I still think that she's, Dr. G, Dr. T, the dark. I still think that she's playing both sides and is doing it for maybe out of self-preservation now, because she is doing the whole doc thing with Sinatra, like, I pulled you up out of the dirt or whatever when you were like at your worst moment and blah blah, and now you've got me video recorded in my own home. And then she goes to find Xavier and he full on calls her out, going, I knew that they would send someone, I didn't think it would be you, but it made my suspicions. But I still think she's involved somehow, but I don't think she's a killer. I just think that she might be. This would lead to like a season 2. There's maybe like another secret organization that the doc is the head of, and she's been planted there to observe the current one to see how it plays out. Because she herself said she's the architect of social well-being or whatever it was. So,
right.
Which makes me think that maybe there are multiple domes and there's someone in charge of observing how the domes operate. And this one just so happened to have the president in it, so it was the top one. But there might be other ones. So maybe this is ways for them to kind of expand the universe of Paradise, I guess. But I think that she either played it really well, that she was now a victim and like just trying to help people, or maybe she's doing a Jane and she's like really, really good at acting in that world, that she might actually still be the one that's in charge of everything that no one even knows about. That's what I think.
She's a bag of milk, man. She is a bag of milk.
She's playing, but she's playing that as a part.
But if you're right, beautiful. She's very smart, plays it very well. She, plays everything close. I gotta tell you though, for how bad we talk about Sinatra and how evil she is, everything we sort of get from her past, like she comes through it through good intentions. She's put in a situation where she has to make very difficult decisions. And while she does evil things, I I don't like I have some respect for her. I really do. And I'll tell you why when I answer this question, but I'm going to put it to you guys first. So I don't remember if it was episode 5 or episode 6 where it comes out, and there's a conversation where they confront, where Sinatra's confronted by somebody being like, maybe it was Cal, about knowing that Earth outside of the dome is in fact livable. And she and then it comes up, and I forget exactly all the wording, but the other person she's talking to is like, well, you should let people know. And she's like, and then what? They go and look for people and they find them and they bring them back. And, and it's this whole thing of, well, what is the right thing to do? And that's my question to you guys. And I'm interested to know, you're in that position of leadership. You find out that, although radiation levels are high and this and that there is people out there who are still alive. Now, you don't know the effects of everything yet. You're obviously safe. You don't know what the food resources are like out there. You don't know what the living conditions are like out there. So would you keep the bunker a secret? Or would you let the population within the bunker know that there are survivors out there?
I
It's a fucking tough question, hey?
well,
It's
well, because
a
I'm just thinking of the consequences, right? I, but
yeah.
if before I get deep into it, my first reaction would be to let them in. That being said, you don't know exactly. There has to be some sort of safe way in my
Okay,
perfect to have them,
so I want to stop you there.
tested, contained, and all that stuff. Yeah, go
So it's
ahead.
not even let them in. That's not the question. Sorry, the question
Okay.
isn't let them in. The
Oh,
question
to
is
let
to
people know.
let the people in the bunker know that there are in fact survivors out there. Because that was a big thing. Then people would start being like, oh, I wonder if my family survived. I wonder, and then what kind of chaos would that cause within the bunker? Would that lead to some sort of revolution against the people in charge, demanding it to be open, or taking control of the bunker, opening the bunker? What does that lead to? So it's not so much, hey, bringing people in. It's just simply letting people know, you know what? We found out that there are in fact survivors out there.
I
Or is that something you keep secret and then maybe you investigate further within your inner circle?
I think for me before I let people I think honestly before I sorry, what am I saying? Before honestly I would eventually let them know. But I would want to know more first if there's certain things that would lead to chaos. I'm just thinking as if I were in the dome and I learned that there, was a survivor or there are potential survivors. I don't know what kind of chaos I would, um, exude or if I would really be that what's a word? Not eager to know, but I don't think I just don't think I would cause a stir about it. I would be curious for sure, but not to the point where it would lead to
Yeah.
potential riots or whatever. That's just how I think. I'm sure there are people who would be really curious about like, oh, how can I get up there? How can you know what I mean? So yeah, that's
It would
my I
depend on
guess
too if your family and yeah, if
exactly.
your
I guess that's
family
my
was
sort of
in the
like
bunker.
I would definitely have questions, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't lead to sort of some sort of protest or stuff like that. But that's just me. So my answer is, yeah, I would let them know. Yeah, that's my short answer. Hey,
The
hey.
short answer, the same. I think once I am almost going to mirror Xiao's answer entirely. Once you had more information of what the full circumstances were of the survivors out there, and then you'd be able to, because obviously if you're in a position of political power amongst the dome, you would obviously be bombarded with questions like, are they radiation people? Are they are they mutating? Are they some kind of something different, or are they just like how they are? Are they normal? How are they surviving? What's the weather like out there? Is there food? Is like you'd want to have all of these questions to have answers for your people, and then once you did, or at least enough of it, you'd be like, hey, so big announcement. There have been some sightings of survivors on the outside. And we don't know who, we don't know how many, we don't know this, and this, but this is what we do know. We know that the air is clean. We know that animals are surviving. We know that there are food sources, blah, 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 blah. So ultimately, yeah, I would want the information and then I would definitely pass it on. Because you think about it, there's only 25,000 people there and they were hand selected specifically. So it's not like they're just the common folk.
Mhm.
They're obviously the top echelon of society in whatever role. I mean, that's what we are assuming, is that they were chosen specifically for, I don't know, bloodlines or health, family health history, so to prolong the life of the dome. There's a reason why they're there. So you'd think that they're not just like the plebs of society that managed to get a free, golden ticket to the chocolate factory and they're there, but maybe they are. Who knows? On that, it did make me wonder, because we hadn't seen it until episode 6 or whatever it was, when Dr. G and X meet in the diner again. There's a police vehicle outside. I'm like, why is there the need for police in a perfect paradise society?
Mm.
Well, because if some kids get up into some trouble, somebody's gonna nerf gun them. Need to
Yeah.
nerf gun them to get them to stop.
Yeah. So
Kind of. But I'm just also thinking that like they have been down there for 3 years. I'm wondering if it's ever truly possible for people to
live in
fully
harmony.
immerse themselves in a world and forget about the upstairs. I don't know. Like I guess it's almost like an impossible situation to put ourselves in. But I was thinking if there's footage that people can see what it is on the outside, I don't feel like they would want to go outside. You know what I mean? That they'll be happy where they are. Um, so I don't know. There's obviously some transparency that could, lead to a lot of other questions and curiosity, but they kind of described it as they're afraid that it's going to cause utter chaos and stuff like that. For me, I just don't really see that happening, but I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, because wasn't that Dr. G was saying that to Sinatra, that you can't switch it off because did she have that conversation? Whoever said it,
Yeah,
you
that
can't.
was they were talking about the reboot, and she said you can't turn it off because then people will have to go into that
It'll trigger them.
whatever it is stage where
Yeah.
when they first got there, and then they'll know that they're living in a cave, and it's not just like they fucking know they're living in a cave. Like,
But it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
good
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
good observation of like how the human brain works, right? So it's like,
Right.
yeah, we know, but at the same time, what I'm seeing is telling me that it's not. So I think Dr. G is like, from a psychiatrist standpoint, is like, I don't want to deal with 25,000 people having mental breakdowns all at once. If you do that,
Oh, so she's just
which will
lazy.
be interesting to
she's just
see where it
lazy. Yeah.
goes because
Lazy
she
milk
made
pig.
that call. Yeah, like fucking bag of milk. So
Yeah.
she made that decision not to. Ultimately, they ended up doing the reboot anyways because they, faked the explosion stuff. So we'll see if she's right in episode 7 if everybody's having a mental breakdown. Now, obviously, there's more than just people being exposed to uh, the system shutting down
Oh, but
because
they had Jeremy there standing on the back of that truck to calm them all down, so they'll be fine.
yeah,
Yeah, with that inspired.
I think he fucking put that crowd to sleep. So
They're
they
like,
probably
wait,
didn't even hear.
the roof turned off and turned back on. What happened?
Yeah, yeah, uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what would you, Justin, back to you, what would you do?
No, I wouldn't tell people, man. Absolutely not. I think I think she made the right decision. I don't think she made the right decision about killing the scientists. Maybe you have to. You got to be ruthless. I don't think you can bring a survivor in. If you did, I think because they did say they found one survivor, maybe you bring her in. It's very, nobody knows about it. You keep it quiet. You keep that survivor under observation. You maybe gather a little bit more information about him. But I think, if what we see in like with Washington D.C. being under all that water, and if what we see from the little glimpses of when Billy was out there with the expedition people, like I don't see the point in going out there, even if it's like, okay, you can breathe and survive. Like, what is life like out there? What's the point? Maybe you send an expedition crew out there to learn more. I think I'd want to learn more for sure about the outside and just keep tabs on what's going on. But no, man, I'd keep those cards tight. Like that would be a small circle of people that know. Um, Maybe when the time's right and it makes sense, but I absolutely wouldn't tell people. You have people living a certain way. Everything's fine. Everything's peaceful. Um, I certainly would not.
But then, like, not telling kind of led to, in a way, where the situation is now for them, right?
A
In a
hundred
way.
percent.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely did because Cal found out, and then
Yeah.
then he got killed, and that's what sparked everything off. But um, you can't predict that. You can't predict that Cal was going to find out. Um, hindsight's 2020, but I certainly wouldn't have. And I understand the need to kill the scientists because the scientists know. Um, but yeah, no, I would have maybe brought the survivor in strictly for observation, and maybe you need to pick different scientists to go out. That it's like, maybe you don't send scientists out, or you send one out, like who's in on the overall scheme of it.
Mm.
Because if these scientists are good people, and it sounds weird to say that because I'm kind of going against them, but I mean, not good people, but they're going to go against what you as a leader um is in charge of, then maybe they weren't the right pick for the role. It's like, hey, you're going out on this expedition, you report. It's almost military. You
Hmm.
come back, there's a survivor, you can't bring them back, you got to deal with it.
Right. No, that's true.
Yeah, and maybe that's a bit sadistic, and maybe that's the wrong thing, but you know there's so many moving parts to this that all of a sudden you find out it's habitable. um the one decision she made that I would have made different, I wouldn't let people know, I stand by that, is that I would bring the survivor in for observation, and I would
Mm.
make sure that like it didn't get out that there was a survivor until we learn more. And maybe that's more of a conversation where we bring in Dr. G to talk to the scientists, like, hey, listen, from a psychological standpoint, it's not safe right now to let the people living inside the bunker know that they're a survivor until we get more information. And then you can sort of continue your observation and your intelligence gathering from there. But I would not let people know, because we don't know, like, do they bring only families in? But okay, you bring an immediate family in, well, you still have extended family that's out there. And then you don't know people's relationships to their family members or even some of their friends or maybe a loved one to get in. And then you find out they're survivors. That's easy for you to say, like, yeah, I'd be curious, but I wouldn't start a riot. But you're talking about a dome with 20, 25,000 people. not everybody thinks that way. And yeah, Dr. G did have a hand in sort of selecting the people that were there, but I think it would start a slow burn that you wouldn't want to deal with while you're trying to deal with if the outside world is habitable. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I want to deal with this one thing. I don't want to deal with this, and all of a sudden a growing population of people demanding that we open the doors or demanding we send out more expeditions for people. Like I'd kind of rather do all that, but do that in secrecy.
No, that's a good point. That being said, uh, you know what? I don't know if you guys know, but the titles of the next two episodes are already out. Do you guys know that? Justin, do
Nope.
you know? Do you want to know? Like it's like kind of I don't think it gives anything away, but just you know what I mean?
Yes, I do want to know. Can I say one thing on titles?
Yeah.
I was so used to when we were doing Skeleton Crew
Ella? Yeah.
that they were direct lines. And so episode 6 is what? There's a place, Time for Miracles, or what is the
So you
title
asked for
again?
miracles.
Yeah. So I was expecting them to say that, and they kept saying magic. Oh, we got magic. Oh, you asked for magic. And I was like, oh, when are they going to drop the miracles one? And then they never did it. And I was like, oh, wait, no, that was Skeleton Crew.
A little pump fake.
Yeah.
That being said, we're gonna jump into our what do you call it? Domi Dome Dome trivia.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna do the Domi Dome Dome. It's gonna be a short one. We have a few questions here, and same rules, dingers. Um, there's one hard one, but some of them you guys already kind of touched on, so it's just this battle of speed. Let's jump right into it. Have your dingers ready?
Yep.
Number one, what is Kane's nickname for Billy?
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, Justin.
Shooter. Sniper. Sorry.
Ding, ding, ding,
Sniper.
ding, ding.
Sniper. Sniper.
Who gets that point? Because you got it wrong.
I technically
Oh
did.
man, you know
I
what?
technically did.
Sorry, I have to get the hate in that one.
No, it is. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, fuck.
Lost
Close
at
call.
sea, sniper.
Number two, be specific in this one. What did Cal originally want to do instead of going to politics?
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, I got Justin.
He wanted to be a high school teacher.
You be specific into what grade?
9.
That's correct. Very good. Number three, what is the name of Cal's grandfather? There was a scene where Kane said he was going to name Cal this, but he said it was the
Ding,
weak
ding,
name.
ding, 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 ding.
Justin?
Arthur?
Ooh, it's correct.
Nice.
It is Arthur. Number four.
Didn't you say what
Finish
was
this quote.
Cal's grandfather's name?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Arthur.
But didn't you call him something different earlier in the episode?
No, his dad's name is Kane.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
sorry.
it's-
I was
yeah,
thinking
it's Kane's
Jeremy's
dad.
grandfather.
Right.
Sorry, my bad. Cut that out,
okay.
Hayden.
No,
definitely keep
minus
that
1
in.
point. Minus 1 point.
Minus 1 point. So 0. Back to 0.
Number four. Finish this quote.
Oh, boy, I love these.
Sometimes blank is the only thing you can do.
Oh, God, I know this.
It was said by Terry, and then it was said by Xavier.
No, I know. Oh, my God. Don't go away from this question. I know it.
I don't. I got nothing.
Is it one word?
3.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Create a scene.
Very close. Hayden, do you have a follow-up?
Oh, fuck.
No, just give
Does
it
it
away.
start with a T? Okay.
You got 2 of them, right?
Yeah. Oh, because I loved it.
Start
And
a
it's funny
scene.
when we were talking about Terry earlier in the episode, I was gonna drop this quote, but I couldn't 100% remember it because that was one of my favorite moments is when she said that, because then later they backstitch it and it comes up and it comes up later in the episode where he does it. But
Well, due to time constraints,
yeah,
unfortunately, I'll have to sometimes making a scene is the only thing.
making a scene. That's
Yes.
it.
So
Continue.
next question. There is a survivor found in the outside world, a woman who spoke what language?
Ooh,
This is a hard one.
ding, ding, ding.
Justin?
Cantonese. Bonus
Oof.
point.
No. The answer is Creole. Language of Creole. Creole woman. You know what? Last quick question. What is the name? What is the episode 5 title name?
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding,
Hayden.
ding, ding.
In the
Hayden.
palaces of crowned kings.
And there it is. Okay, so this leads to our final question.
Oh,
This is a hard question. So
let's go.
it's tied right now. It's 2-2, and I'm
Oh
probably
boy.
gonna have to give hints for this one because this is like a classic Shao, like why would you even write this as a question, sort of trivia question. You guys gonna hate me for this. Okay. What is the name of the principal at Presley's school?
Have we even
Oh.
seen that person before?
Yeah, we did because they called. He's the one that called the two families in.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
This
the
is
school
like,
that she was at before they were in the dome?
Yeah, sorry. Yes. More specifically, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Shao. Come on, bud. Fuck. What? What the hell is wrong with you, man?
Well, X even calls him by name, but I can't remember what he says. He's like,
I don't think
"Good
they
to see you
I don't even
again."
remember.
Blah.
I don't even think they called him by name. He had his name plate on his desk, like right front and center.
Oh shit. I should have wrote that down. I should have known that would be some stupid ass question that you'd ask.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's why I only have one of these hard ass questions. Okay, my I guess quote unquote hint is this is speed. It's Principal something. Okay, so his last name is in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins.
Oh boy.
Last name of Rachel.
Oh, I was about to say McAdams.
No, it's
Ah,
not McAdams.
Oh,
But
hold
Katie
on. No, I
Holmes
know. I
plays
didn't think. Hold on.
Katie Holmes plays Rachel blank.
I've
Don't
seen
remember
that
Hayden?
movie like a million times, and I'm like, nah.
Um, Katie Holmes.
Or her
Rachel.
character. Rachel! Rachel!
Nah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Go ahead, Justin.
Is it Principal Dawes? Dawes? Is that how you Dawes? Rachel
That is correct. That is
Rachel
correct.
Dawes.
Where did
Rachel
you pull
Dawes,
that
Principal
from?
Dawes.
I feel like you had your eyes down a little too long on that one.
Prove it.
I have the video recorded.
I
Hold
suppose
on,
it's be
phone's right
continuous.
here. See? My phone was behind.
And off.
Yeah.
Well, that
He's got a
was
tablet. He's got a
short-
able as well.
like I said, that was a short and that was a hard one. I'm actually quite proud of you guys for getting some of the ones, especially the Arthur one. Little slip up for Justin with a shooter saved you there, Hayden. It is a tie. I think this, you know, Hayden has won once, right? So this, it's good to see you guys, that close.
I'm getting
but
closer.
You're getting closer.
Jeez.
I was waiting for some music questions because I'm like, I remember all of the songs
I know
and the
there's-
music in there.
The only reason why is because we've done music questions, and I feel like you guys would definitely write them down. Thank you guys for playing along. If you guys, our listeners are international listeners, thanks for joining in. The next episode we are doing is for episode 7 only, correct?
That's correct.
So episode 7, titled The Day. That's the title of it.
The Day.
The Day. The Day.
Day?
Don't really know what that can really, whatever. But yeah, that was fun. A lot of action-packed stuff in episode 6, even though there were technically no physical action or no, guns firing or whatever, but that was it was intense. And hope they can kind of ride this wave. I really hope that in the next 2 episodes they can answer a lot of the questions that are still up in the air, like the cigarette numbers. You know, if we're gonna see Terry alive, there's a lot of these questions of what's going on with Dr. G. I still want to know more about her, whatever. Hopefully they can answer it, and hopefully there's going to be season 2 because I think there's a lot of stuff that they can explore. That being said, hope you guys can continue to join us in this venture with Paradise. And until next time, please keep on thumbing.
Thumbing.
Clink.
Now I have all the guns.